What's up everybody, my name's Mr. Smith and you're watching Top Speed Needs. In this series, we go over all the most important and relevant automotive news, all in 10 minutes or less. If you're new here and go on to enjoy the video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss a video. And with that being said, let's get into your Top Speed Needs. Coming in first, we're going to be going over an electric SUV from Kia that cements itself as the first ever affordable 3-row SUV in the electric SUV segment, being the new 2024 Kia EV9. Coming in incorporating a lot of the same stylistic cues and a lot of the same features as the concept did in 2021, the new Kia EV6 will be futuristic, will be electric as I said previously, and on top of that will look like a straight up electric Jeep, if Jeep was made by Kia and wasn't exactly rated off-roading. When it comes to exterior styling, this new SUV will be very boxy, will have a lot of angles, and will have a lot of sharp edges, which make this thing pretty futuristic looking compared to its competitors, and will not only feature black A-pillars giving the windshield sort of a wraparound look, but on top of that we'll have S-shaped headlights, Y-shaped taillights, and, if you couldn't guess already, has what lead designer Takon Kim calls the tiger face, which really gives this thing the Kia type aesthetic regardless of how futuristic it may look. Although I should note the lighting layout will depend on the trim. Just keep in mind. Now luckily, when the concept version of this vehicle did in fact debut in 2021, I got the chance to actually see it in person at the Chicago Auto Show, and one thing I can definitely note about it is its size, and the fact that this thing kinda looks like a bus, at least raised on the pedestal that it was sorta on when they presented it. But also the production version of the EV9 will still be pretty big, being wider and longer than a Telluride, offered with 20 and 21-inch wheels, and will be riding on the Hyundai Motor Group's eGMP platform, which by the way is in fact dedicated specifically to electric vehicles, if you couldn't tell by the E in its name. Now one big selling point that Kia is really trying to push with this new vehicle is the interior, which hosts a plethora of very cool features and a very classy, very utilitarian design which we'll get to in a second, which makes this thing entirely and extremely practical. On top of having a very traditional type steering wheel, which is definitely a lot different than the one they had in the concept, along with easy to reach controls, haptic feedback buttons, and physical climate control switches, combined with a physical volume scroll, which for me at least is definitely the best part of this vehicle. This thing has optional second row captain's chairs, which can swivel 180 degrees to face the third row, which by the way only actually has about 2 seats instead of the traditional 3, just to maximize sort of room and comfort, giving this vehicle an insane selling point that honestly I think a lot of people are going to take advantage of. Not only due to the features, although unfortunately it will not come with leather seats, but combined with the fact that again this thing is going to be pretty cheap. Now with that being said, the photos that you guys have been seeing were released obviously by Kia, although they aren't exactly what this thing will look like in full production form, but regardless, this thing truly does look really good, and I'm honestly really impressed with the way it looks and the features it has. Along with that, although we don't exactly know the price yet, since again this was just sort of a initial type announcement, we know that this thing will be pretty cheap, which kind of begs the question, what other competitors will this SUV have moving forward? Obviously, as I mentioned previously, this thing does technically have competitors, but all of those competitors are much more expensive than this SUV, meaning that after this thing officially comes out, unless some other auto manufacturers release their own sort of low budget, I guess you could say, electric SUV that has 3 rows before this thing does in fact come to production, this thing will be in a league of its own, which will not only cement Kia as sort of a front runner when it comes to electric vehicles, which they're definitely trying to, or at least attempting to do moving forward in the next 5-10 years or so, allowing Kia to expand its profit margin, which will definitely lead to some pretty cool vehicles in the future. Although again, this thing could have challengers that are going to be announced in the next year or so. Although obviously, we can never truly know, and currently, Kia is the only auto manufacturer to release a vehicle like this. With that being said, let's get to the Top Speed Needs automotive tip of the day. If you live in a hot climate where there's constantly a lot of sunshine and are worried about your dash potentially melting in the very hot sun that you experience, make sure to wrap your entire car, obviously besides the windows, in the best tinfoil you can possibly find. This lovely creation will reflect the sun's energy and its rays and will make it so your car will never have its dash melted, ever. I hope. Don't believe me? Try it yourself at home and make sure to DM me at TopSpeeds on Instagram a photo of your car and it will be for sure featured in one of these videos. And again, just the paint, the parts that you don't have to see out of, for clarification. With that being said, let's get back to your Top Speed Needs. Finally, we're going to be going over a new 4-door SUV coupe that aims to rival the biggest names in the mid-size SUV segment, that being the new 2024 Mercedes-Benz GLC Coupe, which essentially looks like if you took a basic GLC and combined it with a Toyota Crown, which obviously was the best decision they could have ever possibly made. Yeah! Obviously. Being refreshed for the 2024 model year, this thing's had some changes made to it that makes it a slightly different vehicle than it was previously. Now when it comes to size and interior cabin space, this thing has officially grown by 1.2 inches in length, along with 0.6 inches when it comes to wheelbase. And for those of you who maybe are not aware, has a roofline that's about 1.2 inches lower than the traditional GLC, which gives it this very unique look, you could say. Now you may be wondering, Spencer, how is this thing a GLC and why are they calling it a GLC if it looks like that? Well, the fact of the matter is this thing shares a fair amount with the traditional GLC model, with the hood, front fenders, and the front/rear door skins shared with the basic GLC. Although, as you could have guessed, it does not in fact share everything, since the A-pillars, body side inners, roof, rear quarter panels, and rear hatch are completely unique to the GLC coupe. Along with that, this thing has been facelifted a bit, with a new front grille and front headlights, along with, on the back, a brand new, more prominent rear spoiler, which sits above the new taillights, which believe it or not actually reduces the drag coefficient compared to the old model, with the old GLC coupe having a drag coefficient of about 0.31, and the new one having an impressive 0.29, which obviously makes a huge difference when it comes to ripping this thing around a track, which most likely every owner will do, I hope. But combined with this more sporty look, this thing has a fair amount of power, as you would probably expect, with its 2.0-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, which is combined with a 9-speed automatic transmission, making a respective 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque, with an additional 12 horsepower and 148 pound-feet of torque from its assisting electric motor, which is all plugged into an all-wheel drive system, which is definitely very nice to have on a car like this. Along with that, if you live in Europe, you can opt for air suspension along with rear wheel steering, which I really wish we got here in the States. Although we are able to opt for the night package, which adds gloss black accents, and a sport braking system, which comes with painted brake calipers and drilled rotors, which will be working with either 19-inch alloy wheels, or if you opt for it, 20-inch alloy wheels. Now when it comes to the interior of this thing, which obviously is going to be important considering this thing is, regardless of if you want to acknowledge it or not, a family hauler, this thing will have a 12.3-inch LCD instrument panel, a 19-inch infotainment screen, ambient lighting, a sliding glass sunroof that's 2.4 inches longer than the previous model, and on top of that, believe it or not, included in the base price, you will get wireless cell phone charging, a powered tailgate, and heated front seats, which you should really expect for a car in this realm and price point. But that, of course, is not it with Mercedes. Because in fact, this thing, as part of a 360 camera package, will have the transparent hood feature, which may not beat out the Canu's Street View window, but in off-road mode will show a virtual view of what's in front of the front wheels, which is honestly an insane feature. And if you're talking about 360 cameras and technology like that, I'm honestly surprised that this is not something that has come sooner. Because obviously it helps a lot to be able to see what's in front of you and to be able to kind of see around your vehicle if you're, let's say, in a parking garage, or if you're in a tight parking space. But if you're going to want to be taking something off-road, something that allows you to specifically see what's in front of your front tires, rather than just what's generally in front of your vehicle, is definitely going to help. And I'm very surprised that something like this has not come yet to something like the Ford Bronco Raptor, or even a higher-end Jeep model. Although obviously those things do have very good systems. But with that being said, I do believe that this car is nice. I believe this new SUV will not exactly be a game changer, considering it's not that much different than the previous model, but will definitely provide a nice option for those of you who are looking for a coupe-like SUV and you are okay with spending a bit of cash on it. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this episode of Top Speed Needs. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, and tune in next time for your Top Speed Needs.
I just want my family back.